Hello, it is I, Some Guy on YouTube, and welcome to Some Guy Talks Topics. Today, I'm going to talk about something that happened in the 2000s. When everyone thought the world was going to end, game developers John Vecchi, Brian Fiette, and Jason Kapalka decided to make the game studio sexy action cool. Their first game was Strip Poker. Just out of curiosity, where could I play this? Just because I love poker so much. After that, they were renamed to PopCap Games and made the popular games Bejeweled and Peggle. You can blame Bejeweled for all the Match 3 games we get on our phones. Thanks a lot, Bejeweled. But then, George Fan came along. He helped develop Insane Aquarium for PopCap Games and was hoping to develop a sequel. But eventually, the sequel was reworked into what we know today as Lawn of the... Oh, I didn't get the rights to that title. Plants vs. Zombies. What a stupid title. I bet it won't go any.
Oh my goodness!
Plants vs. Zombies was a worldwide phenomenon. It received multiple nominations, sold over 1 million copies, surpassing the sales of Bejeweled and Peggle, and was made into a multimedia franchise, spawning a sequel, a comic book series, and a spin-off game series. But you probably don't want to know why the game was the equivalent of a student who gets all A's. You probably want to know what the game is about. Okay, so basically you just moved into your new home. Nice grass, beautiful fencing, and zombies right across the street. Imagine trying to sell a house in this neighborhood. And here's the living room where we have beautiful cedarwood flooring right here. Hey, what's that? Boom. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, sometimes zombies like to come in and try to eat people's brains. Well, I don't know if I want to live next to zombies. Yeah, and one of them bit me. Oh, don't worry, the neighbor next door has plants with eyes and mouths that will fend off the zombies for you by shooting peas or lobbing kernels at them. Well, what do you think, honey? Well said, honey. Yeah, we're not buying. Total nightmare. Anyway, so yeah, zombies go down your lawn and you have to use plants in order to defeat all the zombies. You get these plants via level progression and the shop with the coins you earned in the game, and not via microtransactions. What was once 30,000 in-game currency is now $5 US. Sad times. There's a lot of other stuff to do, but what this video is going to be talking about is the plants. There's over 49 of them. There's daytime plants, nighttime plants, water plants, plants that attack, plants that defend, plants that upgrade other plants, and the stupid pot. There are so many plants in this game, and I'm gonna rank every single one of them. From the ones you should never use to the ones that are must-haves. Let's begin. Oh, and a side note, the gameplay footage shown is from the Xbox 360 game. I don't have the PC version. The only other version I have is the DS version. And I don't know how to record on a DS, nor do I want to record on a DS. Okay, with that said, let's begin. Gold Magnet is utterly useless. You want to know what this plant does? It picks up coins for you. You know what else can pick up coins? You! Not only that, but this is supposed to be an upgrade of Magnet Shroom, which is a pretty good plant. Note how I said supposed to be, because it isn't a good upgrade. It's a terrible one. This is not only the worst upgrade plant in the game, but the worst plant in general. Never use this plant, and if you do, pick up your own coins. It isn't that hard to do. The only thing Gravebuster is used for is to, well, bust graves. That's it. You can't place it anywhere else, you only place it on graves, and the graves are only on one level. And for 75 sun, you could use a Fume Shroom or an Ice Shroom instead, which are way more useful. I mean, it does reload very fast, and it doesn't make me feel as mad as some of the other plants near the bottom, but it's still not good. I don't know why, but I absolutely despise this plant. When I started making this list, the first plant that came to my mind when I think of the worst plants in PvZ, I think of Plantern. The only thing this plant can do is remove fog. It's only needed in one level, and it takes a while for it to load. You only do one thing, you shouldn't have to make me wait. However, it technically can be placed in other levels. I don't know why you would place this plant in other levels, but you can. Plus, it only costs 25 sun, which is why it is above Gravebuster. And the reason this is higher than Gold Magnet is because Gold Magnet is an absolute disgrace to society. So congrats, Plantern. You're better than 2 plants, but in my heart, you'll always be the worst plant in Plants vs. Zombies. It's a flower pot. All it can do is let you place plants on the roof. but it does only cost 25 sun, and it recharges fast, so it is better than the other 3 plants at the bottom. But still, it's only a pot that the zombies eat for some reason. Hey guys, how does that taste? Anyway, flower pot only needs to be placed on roof levels. Not that good. Next. Marigold gives you money. That's all. Money is only really useful outside of the game, so Marigold is pretty useless in-game. And even with money in mind, there are much better ways to get money in this game. Pretty meh. Despite being a free plant, Sea Shroom suffers from the fact that it can only be placed at nighttime in the water, and that his recharge is super slow. Yeah, safe to say Sea Shroom is terrible, but it's better than Golden Magnet, so that's something. And next up is Tangled Kelp, another aquatic plant. Tangled Kelp can only be used in water. How shocking. The reason I put it above Sea Shroom is because it can insta-kill zombies that are in the water. That's it. That's all I have to say to this plant. And look at that, another aquatic plant. Lily pad isn't too bad. Its main purpose is to make it so that other plants can be planted on it. It's useful in pool levels, that's it. Next. Umbrella Leaf is fine. It has 2 uses, blocking bungee zombies and blocking catapults from catapult zombies. It's good at what it does, but that's all it's really good at. Man, I'm not really having a lot to say about some of these plants, am I? Hypno Shroom is okay. Sometimes. I think having a plant that can take control of zombies when they eat it is really cool and can be useful. Sometimes. It really depends on what zombie eats the Hypno Shroom. It could be a really good zombie to use against the other zombies, or it could be a really bad zombie to use against the other zombies. Sometimes when you take control of a zombie, there might not be any zombies to attack, wasting the plant entirely on that one zombie. Plus, it can affect gargantuars and zombonis. Hypno Shroom is sometimes good, but mostly bad. Well, they certainly do chomp. I feel that Chomper is one of those plants that seems really OP at first, but once you start to use him, you just go, eh. That's just how I feel though. Sure, they can insta-kill almost any zombie, but he takes about 42 seconds to chew the zombie, which is much longer than the arming time of Potato Mine and Magnet Shroom combined. Chomper is just kinda okay in the end. Not good, but not bad, I guess. Yes, I'm putting Cactus this high up on my list. Fight me about it, I dare you. Listen, I get why Cactus isn't very well liked. They're just Peashooter, except they can pop balloon zombies, which 2 other plants can do better. But I mean, it's only 25 sun more, and it can still attack at a fine rate. Cactus isn't too good, but he isn't the worst plant ever. That spot goes to Golden Magnet. Split Pea is basically a regular Peashooter in the front and a Repeater in the back. Now the reason for the Repeater in the back, it's mostly to shoot minor zombies. No, not them. But other than that, pretty standard stuff. Overall, this Frankenstein-like creation is just okay in my opinion. Torchwood was higher up on my list, but the more I think about it, he can't really do too much. Torchwood's ability is making the peas from Peashooters turn into fire peas, giving them double the damage. This ability makes Torchwood a great supporting plant for the various Peashooters, excluding Snow Pea. But that's really it. Oh, and fun fact, this plant can also remove fog in the fog levels. But come on, people, that's what Plantern is for! Woo! Plantern! Plantern's the plant you hate to love and love to hate! Threepeater is a Peashooter that can shoot in 3 different lanes. I mean, it costs about 325 sun, which is 25 sun more if you were to just put down 3 Peashooters. It technically does cost the same if you were playing on a pool level, considering you would put a lily pad in the water so the Peashooter can be used in the pool. But the cost just feels way too much for me. It's still fine, but it's not that good. Garlic has the ability to divert zombies into other lanes, which is pretty cool, I guess. It's a cool idea for a plan and adds some strategy for using some of the plants in game. Garlic isn't half bad, but I wouldn't use him all the time. Peashooter is one of the first plants you get in the game. And at the start of the game, he isn't that bad, and it's likely that you plant Peashooter first in your level. But later on in the game, much harder zombies will show up and you'll have better plants to start off with. I like Peashooter, but there are definitely better plants to use. Cabbage Pult is a much better plant to start off with than Peashooter. mostly because they both cost the same and have the same recharge. But Cabbage Pult lobs its projectiles instead of shooting them, weakening certain zombies and making them much easier to defeat. However, it still suffers from most of the problems Peashooter suffers with. It's better to use, but there are much better plants out there. Actually, Scaredy Shroom is a much better plant to start off with than Peashooter and Cabbage Pult, mostly because of its cost of only 25 sun. And yes, I know it gets scared when a zombie gets up close and personal with it, but you probably aren't going to put him farther back in your defenses. So yeah, I'd say Scaredy Shroom isn't bad. Snow Pea is a pretty chill plant. Please laugh. Snow Pea is basically a Peashooter that can slow down zombies, which is pretty useful when going up against both football and pole vaulting zombies. However, its cost is quite expensive, and unfortunately that does put the plant somewhat low on this list. It's still not bad, but not the best. Blover and Umbrella Leaf are very similar in my eyes. They both cost 100 sun, they both have fast recharges, and they both have 2 uses. The only difference is Blover is used to blow away balloon zombies and get rid of all the fog and fog levels. But I mean, come on, why would I do that when I could just use Plantern? Woo! I love you now, Plantern! Anyway, the reason Blover is much higher is because I feel that Blover is used way more in-game than Umbrella Leaf is. Very good plant to use. Coffee Bean is alright. It can wake up mushroom plants, which in the first game stayed asleep during the daytime, so it is pretty useful, but it also costs about 75 sun. This means the cost of the mushroom plant goes up in the daytime, which is a good concept, but it feels too expensive for me, and that's the only thing Coffee Bean can do. So it's fine, but that's all it is to me. Sun Shroom is definitely a plant you need at nighttime levels, and that's all Sun Shroom is useful for. Don't get me wrong, Sun Shroom is really good at night, costing about half the sun that a sunflower costs. It does give you 10 sun less at first, but it eventually does give you the same amount. However, if you were to use a Sun Shroom in any other area that isn't at night, it'll cost about double the sun than a sunflower. So yeah, the Sun Shroom is really useful at night, but it's only really useful at night. Threepeater is basically just 2 pea shooters that you can put on one lane. It can shoot twice as many peas and it costs twice as much as a pea shooter. It's still pretty good, but there are better plants that cost the same or even less. That's all. Next! Honestly, I don't know how to feel about Gatling Pea. It's not that bad of a plant. It can shoot 4 peas at once, which is kind of useful, I suppose. But like a lot of the other upgraded plants, it takes a long time to load and it costs a pretty high amount of sun to use. It's still really good, but it ain't anything to write home about. Spikeweed's ability is that it can't be eaten by zombies. Instead, they walk over it and get damaged by it. Wow, no wonder they want my brains. 'Cause they don't have any! Oh, never mind. It can also immediately destroy Zambonis, which is very useful. It does get destroyed by it though, plus it can still be destroyed by the Gargantuar. You know, the guy who throws miners? What? No, whatever. But still, Spikeweed is a pretty solid plant. Spikerock is basically a better version of Spikeweed. You would expect me to say that since it's the upgrade of Spikeweed, but you'd be surprised. Spikerock does the same things as Spikeweed, but can now take 3 hits from both Zambonis and Gargantuars, who throw MINORs. Thank you. Plus, it does more damage and isn't too costly. Definitely a worthy upgrade to an already solid plant. Kernel Pult is basically the same as Cabbage Pult, only Kernel Pult can occasionally lob butter that can freeze a zombie in place. And yes, its regular projectiles do half as much damage as Cabbage Pult's projectiles. But still, for only costing 100 sun, it's a pretty good plant to start off with. Cherry Bomb is a bomb plant, and it ain't a bad bomb plant at that. Despite having a relatively high cost, Cherry Bomb explodes in a 3x3 radius, unlike Potato Mine, which only explodes in 1 square. This is extremely useful when a large group of zombies have appeared and are near each other. Overall, Cherry Bomb is quite a good plant to use, and you could say they're the bomb. Potato Mine is another bomb plant, and just like Cherry Bomb, it is quite a solid bomb plant. But you might be wondering, why is Potato Mine slightly higher than Cherry Bomb? I mean, you said that Cherry Bomb covers more range than Potato Mine, so that must mean it's better. And while that is true, the thing that puts Potato Mine higher up than Cherry Bomb is his cost. It only costs 25 sun. This makes Potato Mine one of the most cost-effective plants in the game, and while it does need to arm itself first before it can be used, it's still quite a solid plant to use against the zombies. Magnet Shroom ain't half bad. The Magnet Shroom has the ability to take away any metal object from the zombies, meaning buckets from Buckethead zombies, football helmets from football zombies, and pickaxes from miner zombies. You son of a! And ladders from middle-aged man zombies. It's pretty useful and helps weaken down zombies, and while it does have to recharge, it's quite fast. So yeah, Magnet Shroom is pretty good. Stay as solid as whatever metal object you're holding on to. Every offense needs a good defense, and Walnut is a pretty good defense. This plant can take up so much damage, and is great to block off zombies while your offensive plants attack. This is not a plant you will always use, they're only really needed if you want to stop zombies from getting too far into your lawn. But Walnut is really solid, both in this ranking and in the game. Tallnut is basically Walnut but better. It has twice as much health and can prevent Pogo, Pole Vaulting, and Dolphin Rider zombies from getting past him. It does cost more, but I think regardless that he's still a good plant. Fume Shroom is a pretty solid mushroom plant, being able to shoot multiple zombies with one attack. Plus, its cost in the nighttime is really good, and the cost in the daytime is also pretty good. Its range is somewhat short, but overall, Fume Shroom is pretty solid. To be completely honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of Gloom Shroom. I'm not saying it's a bad plant, far from it. Despite it having a very short range, it can cover the 3x3 area surrounding it and do much more damage than its D grade, Fume Shroom. Plus, with the aid of pumpkin and garlic, Gloom Shroom can be made even more useful. Gloom Shroom may not be my favorite plant, but it's still really solid. Cob Cannon is, again, really solid. I feel like I'm saying that word a lot. Cob Cannon can launch a cord cob to any tile on the game, exploding a 3x3 radius, killing any zombie in that radius, and it can recharge its shot, taking about the same time it takes to recharge a Cherry Bomb seed packet. However, the plant alone costs 500 sun, and it's an upgrade plant, meaning it needs another plant on the lawn before it can be planted. But in Cob Cannon's case, it takes 2 plants to place down Cob Cannon, those being Kernel Pult, meaning in total, Cob Cannon costs about 700 sun. It's definitely a really hard plant to place in your lawn, but it's definitely worth getting. Behold, the best aquatic plant in the game is Cattail! Cattail is an upgrade plant to the lily pad, and it's not that bad of an upgrade. Cattail, kind of like the cactus, can shoot down balloon zombies, but it can also shoot in any lane and usually shoots at the zombie closest to your defenses, which is amazing. If it wasn't limited to being only placeable in water, I'd probably put it higher in this list, but as it stands, this is the best aquatic plant in the game. Jalapeño is the 4th best single-use plant in the game. The other 2 are much better in my opinion, which really isn't saying much, and I'm sure we can all guess what the first best is. Jalapeño has the ability to insta-kill zombies on any one lane, which is quite useful, plus it can destroy the ice that zombonis leave a trail of, meaning no bobsled zombies will appear. It might not be the first best single-use plant, but Jalapeño is still fire. You know, why do I even bother? Melon Pult is the best catapult plant in the game. It does a lot of damage to zombies and can also do splash damage, and like the other catapult plants, it's quite useful on the roof levels and for hitting zombies with screen doors. It's quite costly, but once you have the sun, definitely worth placing down. We're in the top 10 now, baby, and at number 10 we have Twin Sunflower. Twin Sunflower gives you double the sun of a regular sunflower, so it should be more useful than Sunflower, right? Well, yeah, kinda. Being an upgrade plant, it takes a while to load and costs quite a bit. Not to say it's bad, it's an amazing upgrade plant to use, and it's definitely great to have double the sun, but it's better to implement later in a wave. At number 9, we have Starfruit. Starfruit is honestly one of my most favorite plants in the game. It's like how I feel about Plantern, except instead of feeling hatred towards said plant, it makes me feel nothing but joy. I think his gimmick of being able to shoot in 5 different directions is great, and I think it adds some interesting strategies for defeating the zombies. Plus, once you get enough, stars will start flying all over the place. Overall, Starfruit is a pretty great and fun plant to use. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. One of Starfruit's stars go backwards, meaning it can also attack miner Alright, that's it! Who's the one editing my That was the problem all along. At number 8, we have Wintermelon! Wintermelon is the best upgrade plant in the game. It's also, repeat after me, basically a better version of Melon Pult. The reason being that his melons can now slow down not only the zombie the Wintermelon targets, but also the surrounding zombies due to its splash damage. Quite useful in gameplay and definitely worthy of being the best upgrade plant in the game. Kinda like how Gold Magnet is worthy of being the worst upgrade plant in Plants vs. Zombies. And at number 7 we have Fume Shroom. This is easily one of the best bomb plants in the game. Its explosions can cover such a large radius of damage, and it costs 25 stun less than Cherry Bomb. Of course, this is when it's used in the nighttime. In the daytime, it costs about 50 more stun than its Cherry Bomb, and it can leave a crater, which doesn't allow you to plant on there. But I think these things don't really affect how great a single-use plant Fume Shroom is. At number 6, we have Ice Shroom. Ice Shroom can stop every zombie on any tile, and afterwards the zombies are slowed down for a while, and as an added bonus, it deals a bit of damage to the zombies, and all of this for 75 stun. Sure, this is just in the nighttime levels, but even the daytime levels, it's still a pretty good cost. But yeah, Ice Shroom is pretty great to use at any time of the day. Alright, we're in the top 5 now, and at number 5 we have Pumpkin. Pumpkin is great because it basically turns any plant into a defensive plant, except Cob Cannon since it takes up 2 spaces. Sorry, Cob Cannon. This means you can have both an offensive and a defense on the same square. Or you can put a defensive plant on another defensive plant and make it the ultimate defensive plant. So yeah, I think Pumpkin earned its spot in the top 5. At number 4, we have Squash. I mean, come on. Its stun cost is low, it can insta-kill any zombies that are in front and behind him, and, unlike Potato Mine, it doesn't have to arm itself. Just place it anywhere and it'll immediately squash the zombie that is closest to it. Honestly, I think we can all agree that Squash is the best single-use plant in the game. At number 3, we have Sunflower. Sun is so vital in this game. It's the main thing that lets you place plants in the levels, so having the Sunflower is such a great thing. Sure, you could wait for the sun to fall from the sky, but why wait when you can plant sunflowers to make sun production so much faster? Overall, your defense wouldn't be possible without the sun, and Sunflower is one of the best and consistently used sun-producing plants in the game. At number 2, we have Puff Shroom. What a shocker, the best mushroom plant in the game is the one that's completely free. Bet you didn't see that coming. It makes sense though, this is such a great plant to use in the nighttime. Sure, it has limited range, but I never felt that was a problem. Overall, Puff Shroom is the obvious must-use plant for nighttime, and maybe daytime, I don't know, areas. And finally, the number 1 plant in Plants vs. Zombies is Imitater! The plant that can be any of the other plants. Imitater can be any plant you want it to be. It can be the second best or third best plant. It could be your favorite plant, it could be the best at being the worst plant, it can't be any of the upgrade plants, but that just means it can't be Golden Magnet, so it gets bonus points for that. So overall, I think Imitater absolutely deserved the first place spot. Wow, what an experience. We've covered not only some of the worst plants to ever be seen in Plants vs. Zombies, but also plants that are absolutely must-uses in the levels in Plants vs. Zombies. Hopefully you found this video informative, or you just enjoyed hearing someone complain about the existence of Plantern. This has been Some Guy on YouTube. Hope you've enjoyed this video.
There's a zombie on your lawn.